another economics video in response to the comment left by the Modern Mystic and his general disagreement with me on some of this stuff, so I guess I will re-emphasize some points or explain them or whatever you call that. You know, try to make it clearer. I'll turn on the light. Oh, what the hell? Oh, harsh. Anyway, I guess I should make this text bigger. I should have done that beforehand. Didn't work. Wonder why. I don't know. It's an internet thing. Oh, what's it doing? Holy shit. Okay, I shouldn't have messed with it. I get it. Not responding. How dare it not respond? Okay, it's responding again. Alright. It's a shame you could not drop the other stuff for a couple of years and concentrate on this. Well, I guess that's a positive statement, sort of. But the other stuff, yeah, I mean, it's not, I'm not glued to it. I just think the other stuff is sort of more important. I mean, for every baby I prevent, there's just a huge, permutation of possibilities there. I could theoretically destroy millions of lives. I mean, it's just, there's some prospect of accomplishment there in prevention, even because you're not gonna, we have this thing where the bus is heading for the wall, and all we're really trying to do, I guess, is try to find some way to reduce the damage, and it just seems like nobody's going to let the damage get reduced. So I'm sort of saying, well, then at least let's lower the number of victims. So if we can stop the bus from having more babies, inside the bus, then yeah, that's good. Then there's less things hitting the wall, theoretically. But I'm not glued to anything. I mean, there's the three things, right? There's this ultimate big picture truth that's just sitting out there waiting to be talked about. I mean, it's just been waiting for the whole entire history of the universe, kind of, just waiting for us to get around to it and to say, hey, did you notice this real fundamental truth that the whole thing is made out of crap? That has no function at all. It's just silly chemistry, just doing silly shit. Did you get around to that one? Hello? Big giant blankety blank in the bedroom. But it doesn't matter. Yeah, so yeah, that's sitting out there. The big one, the huge one, it's just so fucking big. It's big. Yeah, no one's paying attention. So yeah, there's that. So we can, but no, okay, we're just not ready for it. So let's play with the politics thing, with, the idea that politics is basically figuring out a way to live with each other, right? I mean, it's about this whole idea of fixing the system so we can argue about things and kind of decide on policy in some sort of civilized way. So the democracy thing, and obviously we're not doing that very well. We're making all these democracies that are fundamentally broken because we keep copying the Queen's blueprint of democracy. It's just kind of bullshit. Let's go find the oldest building plans on Earth, and follow that architecture. Copy that. Let's live in the totem pole democracy. Let's not apply intelligence and reform it and make it better. No, let's just stick with the old, reliable, lean-to democracy. Really dumb. And then there's the economics thing, which is, capitalism, communism thing. What's the real interest here? What are we really trying to do? Invisible hand versus, generous good guy hand thing, versus rational hand. Any hand will do, I mean, no hand. Yeah, what's better, a hand or no hand? Yeah, it could be some kind of hand. Get some hand on that thing. And, yeah, so what's better? What's, yeah, I think logically I've got the argument that it's about the workers. The workers are the entire game. Who decides how you allocate the investment capital? It's not that it's not important, but it's not the brain surgery part of the game. It's not the thing that matters. The thing that matters are the workers. And as long as the thing allocating the money is doing it with any kind of logic at all, and the workers are actually doing work that is productive. Well, I guess it is important. I mean, again, so we have to find this political mechanism, because you can't leave selfish assholes deciding how you're going to spend the money. That's stupid. You just wouldn't do that. You have to have the adults decide. Some kind of reasoned force decide. Computer program. I don't know. Maybe that's somewhere to go. But anyway, you can't argue this stuff, and you already know that. So why, I mean, I wish you would make more videos about the big picture stuff, the big final truth thing, and just quit messing with this silly economics crap that nobody gives a fuck about. They're never going to listen to any of the arguments. They're just going to keep going, Ron Paul, Ron Paul, Ron Paul, and, whatever, Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan. They're just going to keep following their little rat, whatever, horn blowers. They're just going to do their little sheeple best. Not to understand the system, but to sit there and cliche the system and just live by the cliche. The invisible hand. And such. Alright, anyway. If you can't put more time into it, I would suggest you drop the mechanics of it and push the morals ethics side. Because your mechanics are way off. Okay, well, obviously I don't think my mechanics are way off. I don't think you exactly prove that. I don't think you will prove it either. But yeah, so far you haven't. But I have to give you a chance. It's more writing, right? Yeah, so I don't think my mechanics are way off. I think that's bold talk, once again, from a, yeah, a guy who just had to have his arteries replaced. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, so, I don't get how you can even separate the ethics and moral side. I mean, why mechanics are everything. I mean, if you don't get the mechanics right, then there's just no point in having the conversation. I don't get the morals and ethics without understanding the mechanics, I guess. I mean, we shouldn't do it for, well, ethics I understand. But I don't know how I can get mechanics wrong and get ethics right. I guess that would be the point. I mean, if I got the mechanics wrong, then I got the ethics wrong. I would think. Right? Well, we'll find out. So far, this video is not really too coherent, but I'll get better. It'll get better. I'm sure it will. I'm not really that confident, but we'll see how it goes. In the economics mechanics of it, let's say some rich bastard buys a $50 million yacht. You have to be pretty creative to separate that from 10,000 people buying a jet ski each. Well, there you go. So one rich guy, one rich bastard versus 10,000 people. See, that's the mechanics part I'm talking about. See, 10,000 people happily riding jet skis equals sign one bastard, one millionaire cunt bastard, sitting on top of his little whatever crow's nesty thing going, I'm a rich bastard, one versus 10,000. See, that's my kind of economics thing. That's my kind of math that it just seems quite obvious to me that 10,000 does not equal 1. So one yacht equaling 10,000 jet skis might be true, but 10,000 does not equal 1. You get me? So the problems with the jet ski versus yacht. And the jet skis are obviously a better investment because they make 10,000 people happy. And they probably make them a little bit healthier too. It's a healthier activity than yacht riding, I think. But, they are loud and obnoxious. I'm not for jet skis. But anyway, in my previous video, I did make this broad brush statement, that generally speaking, poor people spend their money on infrastructure and necessities that are good things for people to have, like Hoover Dams, for example, and rich people waste money on things like their private marble floor. And that those are a big difference. That's like pyramids versus canals. I've made this argument before, but I'm going to keep making it because it's a big, giant, pointy argument that's really good. I mean, look at the pyramids. Big, giant waste of zillions of man-hours of labor, right? The biggest labor-intensive waste of labor in the history of mankind. It's got to be, doesn't it? Complete waste of industry, waste of human welfare, waste of sacrifice, suffering, time, energy. Preposterous waste initiated by crazy, insane, selfish, bastard motherfucker shitheads. Right? And we're not even talking about the yachts the pharaohs built for themselves and the canals that they had to make, not for industry, but for just their canal boat to go traveling down, their entertainment boat. Yeah, this waste matters. And if you take all the waste of the wealthy who have this surplus to squander, that's our investment capital, that is the investment will decide tomorrow's jobs, yeah, they squander it. Okay, so when they don't invest it in the stock market, which is investing in all kinds of rackets and fraud, all kinds of small print, let's see if we can fool the customer with this bullshit. Let's make a product and call it a flop camera, okay, and sell it for $10, and they'll think it's a flip, and they'll think it's a $200 camera, but it's really only a $10 camera. It's a piece of shit, and we'll make them buy it. We'll fool them. They'll buy it, and they'll be too embarrassed to take it back, or it'll be too much trouble because it was so damn cheap. But we still stole their money effectively. That's the stock market. That's deciding how we're going to, what jobs we're going to have tomorrow. Is it being decided by a bunch of malicious motherfucking cunts who are just thinking about how much money they earn personally through the investment. And that's supposed to be rational economics. No. Alright, anyway. All the rich bitches of the world getting pedicures is not going to be more than the women of Walmart getting pedicures. And what about the hairdressing, going to the movies, eating meal out? Yeah, well, eating a meal out is a good example. Because the rich do that in a preposterously wasteful manner. You know, they have food imported from around the world. They throw out anything with a little bruise on it. So the food is manicured, and there's chefs, and there's all kinds of preposterous procedures, and then there's waiters, like I was one, who have to dress up in silly monkey suits and utter politeisms at their feet, you know, and tell them how wonderful they are while they're having their meal, and rub their bellies so they can burp properly. I mean, yeah, so there's no comparison. That and McDonald's, which is this high efficiency mass production, here's your meal for $1.50 versus 150 wasted dollars, wasted investment capital dollars, hiring people to do silly work, to run around in circles essentially, to please them by putting on a play of wasted effort and energy and work, so just so they can sit back and have their $20 Cuban cigar and go, ha ha ha, I'm rich. Yeah, no, that's bad. Bad. And so we can go through some of these other examples. I mean, the pedicures even. I'm not, like, again, I didn't state that poor people never waste money. They certainly do. They buy lottery tickets. They even buy iPhones, and they buy Michael Jordan signed sneakers and all kinds of shit. They do a lot of stupid things. I'm just saying proportionally, they spend a much larger percentage of their money well than the rich do. The rich spend a tiny percentage of their money well, and the huge percentage of their spending is crap. You've got to be able to concede that fact. That there's a huge pile. For every rich man is 5 poor people. Every rich welfare inheritance pig who inherited the money, never did a day's work, right? They're on welfare essentially, rich man welfare. They just get an income from the stock market. The stock market sends them a check every month, and they waste the shit out of that money. And sometimes in proportional, percentage-wise, they're wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And people are whining about the welfare recipients who it takes 100,000 of them to waste as much as one of these cunts sometimes. I mean, some of them think they need $5 million a month just to get by. That's just squeaking by, in terms of their monthly expenses. They're preposterous wasters. So this is a silly argument for you to be making. Here we go. Hairdressing, going to the movies. I see. Going to the movies is. I'd almost argue that movies are a very productive thing, and obviously the rich man and the poor man pay the same price for that. Rich men don't go to special theaters, you know, where somebody rubs their belly and, you know, all that crap. So I mean, you know, that works. Okay, rich people don't go to the movies. You know, the rich people, what they do is they put a theater in their house, a big expensive theater in their house, so they can sit there by themselves and lament their wife sleeping around on them or getting drunk, you know, watching whatever, some movie they bootlegged. Come on. The gardener at the big house is more of a waste. Okay, the gardener at the big house is more of a waste. The gardener at the big house is more of a waste than the man who sells you potting compost. Yeah, well, the gardener at the big house is a waste, yes, because his efforts, his labor, are for something, number one, that's vacuous, that'll be gone in a few days. And the aesthetics aren't on public display, so a lot of people aren't going to this museum. So it's like having artists paint paintings for a private gallery, you know, where one man just walks around and looks at them. Now that would be obviously inefficient versus a painter who paints for the public. One could see the obvious difference between those two things. One guy's making lots of carat happiness, and the other guy's only making one little carat of happiness. So I mean, it's an obvious, you'd say this is better than that. I mean, it's just not complicated math. This produces more smiley faces than that produces. Is the economics about anything other than smiley faces or comfort hours or time off or all of that crap? And you have more of that. The more productive we make an employee, every worker, the more productive he is, the more time off other employees could have. I mean, that's the way it works. I mean, the amount of work that has to get done is the same. This battery has to be made to go into my camera to make that camera work. All this stuff has to get done. And the point is if we don't have to do a whole bunch of extra shit that we don't need, then all that labor, we can pay for it all with this making this good stuff, and we don't have to have all those other people do all that work. It's like if we were honest, we wouldn't need police, and our life would be better because we wouldn't have to pay people to go to work to be policemen. We could pay people to go to work to be dam builders or bridge builders or building builders or do something constructive thing. So, I mean, how can you say I'm wrong on the mechanics? The whole world runs on mechanics. Mechanics are what have value. So what I'm making the simple argument that the mechanics that we all use, the mechanics that build our structure and our efficiencies in our production, are all mechanics we benefit from. And the mechanics that serve the selfish little narrow, tiny, tiny, small little needs of one or two or three little rich people's interests, those mechanics have no cost-to-benefit analysis. None whatsoever. They're a waste of labor, and any labor wasted is obscene. It's an obscenity against logic to waste labor because it's valuable. Labor's a pain in the ass. Working sucks, and people shouldn't have to do it in anything but an efficient manner. We should all have the glory of having a good job. Or at least being fairly compensated for the contribution we make. So anyway, so he ends with the mechanics are tricky and weirdy face, but I don't think they're that tricky. You know, I think there's productive labor and unproductive. I'll go back to the simple argument. If you were a slave in Egypt and your job was building the canals, or your job was working on the pyramids, which job would you say was more productive? Which job would you say, I'm doing something for my civilization, I'm being productive? I mean, it seems quite obvious which one is productive and which one is a complete preposterous waste of capital and resources and investment capital. It's wasted labor, it's wasted time, it's wasted energy, it's wasted focus. And if that focus and that energy and that time, that sunlight, so to speak, was shined on other plants, we would get more out of them. That's maybe a good analogy. It's like the sun. If the sun is falling on sand, it's not doing anybody any good. It just bounces back into the atmosphere and it's gone forever. But if it falls on a leaf, then it's going to generate energy. and it's going to give us something back. And there's no, we captured it, we grabbed it, we got a hold of it. We didn't lose it. And that's the difference. Pyramids are sand, canals are a leaf. It's a stretchy metaphor, but anyway, you get the point. I'm quite sure you do. So anyway, you know, if you could type something, I appreciate it. I mean, don't put yourself out. I mean, don't stress yourself. But, you know. Till next time, as such. Counter argument. Sorry, yes, I'm still in need of a good week at hospital myself. I'm just so unsettled. Yeah, eyes wandering. Anyway, till next time.